Consciousness is the only reality. This simple yet profound truth holds the power to utterly reshape how you view your life and everything within it. Most people believe that life happens to them, that circumstances, events, and external forces determine the quality and direction of their experiences. But when you come to understand the true nature of consciousness, you realize that life does not happen to you, it happens through you. Every event, every encounter, every result you experience is born first in your consciousness. You are not a passive observer in this universe. You are the cause, not the effect. When we say that consciousness is the only reality, we mean that your state of awareness, what you accept as true, what you feel to be real, is the very substance of your life's unfolding. The outer world, what you call reality, is merely a mirror reflecting your inner assumptions, beliefs, and expectations. This is not a metaphor, it is literal. Consider for a moment your own experiences. Think about times when you expected things to go wrong, and they did, or when you were filled with confidence and ease, and everything unfolded in your favor. This was not coincidence. This was law. The law is always working. It is impartial. It does not reward hope or wishful thinking. It responds to the state of being you occupy most consistently. Your dominant state of consciousness becomes your life. Many try to change their outer circumstances, jobs, relationships, locations, without first shifting their inner state. They run in circles, solving nothing. Why? Because they are trying to change the reflection instead of the source. Imagine standing in front of a mirror, frowning, and expecting the reflection to smile back. You understand intuitively that the reflection cannot change unless you change. The same is true in life. Your world is your mirror and consciousness is the original face. To shift your life, then, you must first become aware of the state you dwell in. What do you feel to be true about yourself, about others, about the world? These are not just idle thoughts. They are seeds planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious. And from these seeds, your reality grows. Nothing appears in your life that does not first exist in your consciousness. If you are experiencing lack, conflict, or limitation, look not to the outside world for answers, but inward. The condition persists only because you continue to entertain it in your awareness. Withdraw your attention, and it begins to dissolve. Place your attention on what you desire to experience, and that begins to take form. Not by force, but by law. This is why spiritual teachers and mystics throughout the ages have taught the same fundamental principle, the avars: change your mind, and you change your world. Not in some abstract or symbolic way, but tangibly, demonstrably. Your consciousness is not confined to your skull. It is the infinite creative force itself. You are one with that power. And through your imagination, your feeling, and your sustained attention, you mold the formless into form. The truth is, you are never truly waiting for anything outside to change. You are always waiting on yourself, on your own recognition of what already is within you. The moment you assume a new identity, a new belief, a new vibration of thought and feeling, the world must conform to it. Delay only happens when you fall back into old states, into doubt, into watching the world instead of creating it. Everything begins and ends in consciousness. Every breakthrough, every healing, every success starts as a subtle shift within. Before the promotion, before the healing, before the love appeared, there was first a knowing, a quiet assumption that it was already so. That knowing is consciousness at work. To live from this truth is to reclaim your power. You no longer plead with life, you direct it. You no longer wait for signs, you become the sign. And in doing so, you step into the creative authority that has always been yours. When you realize consciousness is the only reality, you stop reacting to life and begin responding from a place of deliberate awareness. You do not chase results, you dwell in the state of already having them. And from that state, all things flow. There is no separation between you and your ideal life, only a shift in awareness. Make that shift, and the outer world will bow to the new master within. Imagination creates reality. This is not merely poetic or symbolic. It is an eternal truth that governs the very structure of your existence. What you vividly imagine and emotionally accept as true will externalize itself in your world, just as certainly as a seed produces after its kind. Every object, every circumstance, every event in your life began as an unseen image, a concept formed within your imagination. whether consciously or unconsciously. We have been conditioned to treat imagination as fantasy, as something separate from truth. We are taught to rely on logic, on evidence, on the physical senses to define what is real. Yet all great creators, all inventors, all spiritual masters knew the deeper truth. The imagination is not an escape from reality. It is the womb of reality itself. Every invention, every piece of art, every breakthrough in science or personal transformation began as an inner picture, a vision held and nurtured in the unseen. The reason imagination is so powerful is because it speaks directly to the subconscious mind, which does not question or analyze. The subconscious accepts the feeling and image as truth and sets out to express it in the world around you. The outer world is a delayed reflection of what you have accepted as real within. And here lies the great secret: you are always imagining. The only question is, what are you imagining? You may believe you are simply observing reality, but in truth you are continuously creating it. Every thought you dwell on, every inner conversation you entertain, every mental movie you play with feeling is a seed being sown. These mental impressions, especially when charged with emotion, become blueprints for your experiences. The world around you responds, not to what you want, but to what you assume and consistently imagine with conviction. This is why mere wishing or hoping changes nothing. You may say you want something, but if your imagination is filled with scenes of lack, fear, or failure, those are the forces being activated. The creative power lies not in what you say, but in what you see and feel inside. Imagination fused with emotion is the mechanism of creation. To use this power deliberately, you must begin to discipline your imagination. Do not let it drift aimlessly or rehearse scenes of things you do not wish to experience. Instead, turn within and build the life you desire through inner vision. Create scenes that imply the fulfillment of your desire. Hear the words you would hear if it were already true. Feel the satisfaction, the relief, the joy as if it were already yours. Dwell in that state repeatedly. Make it your new inner home. What happens next is not magic, it is law. Your subconscious begins to arrange your outer world to reflect the inner picture. People, opportunities, and ideas move into your life as if by chance. But it is not chance. It is the outworking of the image you have impressed upon your consciousness. Some might argue, but I've imagined things before and nothing happened. The question then becomes, did you imagine once and forget it? Did you entertain it as a daydream without feeling, or did you truly occupy the state of the wish fulfilled? Imagination creates reality only when it is sustained, when it is emotionally charged, and when it becomes more real to you than the evidence of your senses. The senses can deceive. They show you only the past, what has already been impressed upon the mind. But imagination shows you what can be. It is the preview of life's coming attractions. If you accept that the imaginal act is a creative act, then every moment of inner visualization becomes sacred. You are rehearsing your future into existence. Use this power wisely, deliberately, and consistently. Do not concern yourself with how or when the outer manifestation will come. Your work is not to make it happen by force. Your work is to imagine with clarity and faith. The how belongs to the greater intelligence that governs all life. Your role is to choose the image and feel its truth. As you persist in the imagined state, the outer world must conform. Reality bends to imagination, not the other way around. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the author of your experience. And your imagination holds the pen, live from the end. This is the cornerstone of all transformation, the secret held by those who truly understand the creative power within. To live from the end means to mentally and emotionally inhabit the state of your wish fulfilled, not to merely think about it or hope for it, but to be the version of yourself who already has what you desire. It is a radical shift from seeking to being, from waiting to knowing, from effort to embodiment. Most people approach change from a place of separation. They see their desires as something far away, something they must chase, earn, or wait for. In doing so, they unknowingly reinforce the very state of lack they wish to escape. By acknowledging that something is missing, they anchor themselves in the condition of not having, and the law of consciousness responds accordingly. The result is stagnation and frustration. But when you live from the end, you reverse this cycle. You go straight to the outcome, not physically, but in consciousness. You assume the identity of the one who already has the thing you seek. You think their thoughts, feel their emotions, speak their words inwardly. You walk through life as though the fulfillment were already fact. This inner shift creates a powerful alignment between your mind and the reality you wish to experience. This is not pretending in the shallow sense. It is not lying to yourself. It is stepping into the vibrational reality of your goal and staying there. It means you stop asking if it will happen and begin to know that it already has. In the unseen realm, in the field of consciousness where all creation begins, your outer world may still show no sign of change, but within you no longer question it. You have entered into the state, and from this state, the world must rearrange itself to match it. There is a vast difference between wishing for something and being it. Wishing implies distance, a future event. Being brings it into the now. The subconscious mind, the creative power, accepts only what is felt to be real now. It does not understand the language of someday. So if you desire love, wealth, health, or freedom, you must stop reaching for it and start dwelling in it. Ask yourself, if I already had my desire, how would I feel? How would I move? What would I say to myself in the quiet moments of the day? What would I no longer worry about? These are not empty questions. They are tools to build the internal blueprint of your new reality. Once you identify the answers, begin living in them mentally and emotionally. Construct scenes that imply the end is already here. Perhaps you hear a loved one congratulating you, or see yourself doing what you would do with complete freedom. Let that scene become more real than anything your senses report. Do not be discouraged by the seeming slowness of change. The outer world is a delayed reflection of the inner state. If you persist, the physical must yield. This is law. The key is emotional loyalty to your new identity. You may still see shadows of the old life, but do not react. Stay faithful to your new self-image. Let your feelings of fulfillment override appearances. The one who lives from the end has no need to force or manipulate events. They move through life with quiet confidence, because they know the seed is planted. The harvest is inevitable. All they must do is maintain the state and trust the law to deliver in its own perfect time. Living from the end is not passivity. It is powerful surrender. It is saying, I already am, instead of I hope to be. This shift in identity transforms your relationship to time, to effort, and to life itself. You stop being a seeker and become a creator. You align with your desire, not by chasing it, but by claiming it within. And so, let this truth take root in you. Your desire is not outside of you. It is a reflection of a higher version of you calling to be embodied. Assume it, feel it, live from it. The end is not a distant goal. It is a present state of being. Step into it and let the world catch up. Feeling is the secret. This is the silent force behind all creation, the invisible current that moves the scene into being. Whatever you consistently feel to be true about yourself and your world will manifest in form, regardless of whether it is desired or undesired. Feeling is not a byproduct of circumstances, it is the cause. When you understand this, you stop trying to change the outer world directly, and instead you master the inner tone of your being. Many believe that change comes through action, through effort, through trying harder. But all action is the echo of a deeper state of feeling. You act in harmony with what you feel to be true, not what you wish to be true. Your emotions are not random. They are clues to the assumptions you hold. If you feel anxious, it is because somewhere in your consciousness, you are assuming loss or failure. If you feel joy, peace, or confidence, it is because you are assuming success, love, or security. The feeling is the evidence of the belief. To use this power consciously, you must begin to cultivate the feeling of the state you wish to live in. Do not wait for outer confirmation to feel successful, loved, or free. Begin by feeling it now, without conditions. Your subconscious mind does not know the difference between what is real and what is vividly imagined with feeling. It accepts whatever feeling you impress upon it as reality. And once impressed, it sets into motion the necessary changes to reflect that feeling in your physical world. This is why imagining alone is not enough. You must feel the scene you are imagining. You must bring it to life with the emotion you would naturally feel if it were already true. If you desire abundance, you must dwell in the feeling of ease, gratitude, and security. If you desire love, you must feel cherished, connected, and joyful right now. Not when the relationship comes, but before. Feeling is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. Too often, people wait to feel good until their circumstances give them permission. But this is backwards. Circumstances are the result of feeling, not the cause. You cannot feel lack and attract abundance. You cannot feel loneliness and attract deep connection. You must first become the emotional frequency of your desire, and then reality will reflect it. This requires discipline. It means you must become aware of the dominant feelings you carry throughout the day. Do you dwell in worry, self-pity, resentment, or fear? If so, you are unconsciously creating a world that mirrors those states. To change your life, you must change your emotional home. Not occasionally, but consistently. You must make the desired feeling a permanent resident in your heart, regardless of what your senses report. The senses will always show you the past, the result of your previous feelings and beliefs. If you want to create a new future, you must ignore appearances and persist in the new feeling. This does not mean denial. It means choosing not to let the current reality dominate your emotional state. You are not a reactor. You are a creator. One powerful way to shift your feeling is through the use of imagination combined with emotion. Imagine a scene that implies your desire is already fulfilled, and then step into it emotionally. Feel it in your body, in your breath, in your heart. Let it become more real to you than your current circumstances. Repeat it daily. Let that emotional tone become familiar. The more natural the feeling becomes, the faster it manifests. You are always feeling something, and that feeling is always creating. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. And what you are is defined by how you feel. So be deliberate. Feel as if it were impossible to fail. Feel as if you were already the person you long to become. The world has no choice but to echo your dominant emotional state. This is not fantasy. It is the law of consciousness. Your feeling shapes your future. Your emotion is your command. When you realize that feeling is the secret, you begin to move through life with a quiet power. You are no longer a servant of conditions. You become the master of them. You align yourself with what you desire, not through effort, but through inner conviction. Feel it real, and let life respond. Inner conversations shape your world. The dialogues you carry within, those silent, repetitive thoughts and imagined exchanges, are the scripts by which your reality is written. Every moment, you are engaged in a conversation with yourself, and these inner words are not idle. They are creative. They are the cause behind the events, relationships, and circumstances that unfold in your outer world. What you whisper inwardly becomes the echo you hear in your lived experience. You may believe that what you say out loud is what matters most, but it is what you consistently say to yourself, in the quiet of your mind, that carries the most power. These inner conversations express your assumptions, your beliefs, your expectations. Whether they are rooted in faith or fear, love or resentment, they lay the groundwork for how life responds to you. They become the lens through which you see the world and the magnet by which you draw experiences to yourself. The truth is, we are always talking to ourselves, whether we are aware of it or not. And most often, these conversations are unconscious, habitual, and reactive. They reflect past conditioning, old stories, unresolved emotions, and limiting beliefs. Without conscious guidance, the mind replays these narratives, reinforcing the same states and drawing in the same outcomes. This is why people often feel stuck in cycles. They are unknowingly having the same inner conversations that produce the same results. But when you become aware of this process, you gain the key to transformation. By observing your inner dialogue, you can begin to rewrite the script. You can replace thoughts of doubt with thoughts of confidence, thoughts of limitation with thoughts of possibility, thoughts of unworthiness with thoughts of wholeness. You can begin to speak within yourself as the person you choose to be, rather than the person shaped by your past. Suppose you desire success, but your inner conversations are filled with phrases like, "I never get it right," "people like me don't make it," or "it's just too hard." Those statements, though silent, are declarations. They are accepted truths within you, and they shape your emotional state, your decisions, and ultimately your results. The first step in creating a new outcome is to catch those statements as they arise and change them. not through force, but through understanding. You begin to talk to yourself differently. You start saying, I am capable. Everything is working in my favor. I am already becoming the person I wish to be. These new conversations may feel strange at first because they contradict the familiar. But with repetition and feeling, they become the new inner language of your life. And as this new script takes root, your world begins to shift in ways that match the new tone of your self-talk. These conversations are more than thoughts. They are imaginal acts. When you replay a conversation in your mind, whether it's an argument, a success story, or a moment of recognition, you are imagining. And imagination, fused with feeling, is creative power. If you constantly imagine being rejected, criticized, or overlooked, you are calling those experiences to you. But if you imagine being celebrated, supported, and respected, your world must eventually reflect that. Change does not begin with effort, it begins with self-talk. It begins in the privacy of your mind, where you either reinforce the old or give life to the new. Pay attention to how you speak to yourself when you fail, when you succeed, when you're alone with your thoughts. Are you condemning or uplifting? Are you speaking from the identity you want to release or the one you wish to embody? To live a new life, you must tell yourself a new story. Speak to yourself with love, encouragement, and belief. If you want to be free, talk like someone who is free. If you want to be wealthy, speak within as one who already possesses abundance. Let your inner voice be the voice of your future self, not your past self. Your words are seeds, and your mind is fertile ground. Plant what you want to grow. Do not underestimate the power of these silent dialogues. They are the builders of your reality. Guard your inner speech. Make it sacred. Let it affirm, not deny. Let it uplift, not sabotage. For as you continue in these new conversations, the world must eventually take shape around them. Speak within as though your life depends on it, because it does. Persist in the assumption until it hardens into fact. This is the unshakable foundation upon which all conscious creation rests. It is not enough to merely imagine or affirm your desire once or twice. The real power lies in persistence, remaining loyal to the state of the wish fulfilled, regardless of appearances, doubts, or delay. What you assume to be true, and persist in assuming, must eventually externalize into your reality. This is not conjecture or philosophy, it is spiritual law. Every assumption, when held consistently, becomes belief. And every belief, when infused with feeling and conviction, seeks expression in the outer world. Assumptions are not idle thoughts, they are living energies, inner convictions that shape your perception, guide your decisions, and influence your experiences. The world always reflects what you assume to be true about yourself and your life. But this reflection is not always immediate. It unfolds in time and space. That is why persistence is the golden key. Most people assume something briefly and then give up when they see no immediate change. They look at the physical world and let it dictate their internal state. They fall into discouragement, doubt, or frustration. And in doing so, they abandon the very assumption that had the power to change everything. This is the great trap, responding to appearances as if they were more real than the inner reality. But appearances are not cause, they are effect. They are echoes of former beliefs, shadows of past assumptions. To truly transform your life, you must reverse this dynamic. You must hold firmly to the new assumption, regardless of what your senses show. You must become deaf to doubt and blind to contradiction. The world may present obstacles, delays, or even the opposite of what you desire. Still, you remain steadfast. You carry the feeling of the wish fulfilled like a sacred fire within you. You do not beg for results. You assume they are already yours. This is not pretending or forcing. It is a quiet inner knowing, a trust in the unseen that becomes your dominant vibration. You live in the state as if it were already established, and you act, think, speak, and feel from that inner conviction. And when you waver, as all do, you return to the state again and again until it becomes natural, familiar, and automatic. Persistence does not mean effort or struggle. It means emotional loyalty. It means choosing each moment to feel and think from the end result instead of the present condition. When fear arises, you gently return to faith. When doubt speaks, you counter with inner assurance. When nothing seems to be happening, you know the unseen is organizing itself in your favor. Your work is not to make it happen, but to remain inwardly aligned with the state in which it has already happened. All transformation takes place within the mind first. The longer you dwell in the assumption, the more dominant it becomes. It begins to rewrite your subconscious programming, altering how you see yourself and the world. Over time, this new assumption becomes your default state. And because life mirrors your dominant inner state, the outer world must conform. This is not wishful thinking, it is the operation of consciousness as cause. Some might say, but I've held the assumption and nothing has changed. To them, the answer is simple: persist longer. Strengthen the feeling. Return to the scene. Nourish the inner reality with imagination and emotion. A seed does not become a tree overnight. It takes time, water, sunlight, and consistency. Likewise, the seed of your assumption will grow if you do not uproot it with fear, doubt, or impatience. Persistence proves belief. If you truly believe something is yours, you will continue in that state without needing reassurance. You will stop asking when and how, and instead live as if it is done. That inner certainty is what bends reality to your vision. It is not enough to touch the state. You must dwell in it. It must become your mental home. So persist. Remain faithful to the inner world even when the outer world says otherwise. Do not compromise with appearances. Do not negotiate with limitation. Stand firm in your assumption, not for a day or a week, but until it hardens into fact. The world will always yield to sustained imagination. Let that be your strength. Let that be your truth. And watch your life reshape itself around the unwavering power of your inner conviction.